back with your ukulele tidbit for this week. So the last ukulele tidbit that I did was a tidbit for people who don't have an instrument at home on how you can make a practice fretboard. So if you are a person who is really interested in ukulele and maybe you were working really hard on that in the studio before we started doing school at home, but you don't have an instrument and you want to continue to learn and review some old stuff and learn some new stuff, I would highly encourage you to make one of those practice fretboards, because you can use that to practice. You won't hear anything, but you'll still be able to practice all of your finger positions, and then that way when we do go back to school eventually, you'll be able to just kind of pick right up where you left off. So that's my little PSA on that. So I'm going to explain to you what I'm doing today. I'm going to be reviewing with you two chords that we have learned this year. So we're going to be talking about the C major chord and the F major chord today, which, as I said, are two chords you already know. Next week, I'm going to review two other chords that you already know, but they're a little bit trickier. One is the A minor chord, and the other, which we know A minor goes to F very easily, right? And then the other one is that really tricky three-finger G chord. And the reason that I'm reviewing these four chords, I'm doing two this week and two next week, is because then the following week, I have a really cool song, like play along, that we're going to do but the song uses those four chords. So I'm reviewing those four chords so you can kind of practice them and work on those throughout the week. And then not next week, but the week after, then we're going to actually start to put some real songs together, like some actual pop songs. So that should be really fun. I'm excited. Looking forward to that. So without further ado, here is your review. So I'm going to post the chord diagrams in the comments below this video. And so we're just going to review real quick. So C major chord is, C is the first chord that I teach on ukulele. So before I do anything, I'm going to make sure that I'm holding everything correctly. So the top of the instrument, the head, right, is going to rest in my left hand, or near my left hand. And then the body of the instrument is going to be on my right side. And this is whether you're left-handed or right-handed. Remember, we all hold the same direction, okay? So I am going to, and remember, you have two choices with holding. Either you can hold it up high on your body and put it in the crook of your elbow to support, right? Because we're going to strum with that pointer finger, remember? Or you can let the body of, like, this bottom corner of the body rest on your top of your thigh if you need a little bit more support, okay? And then you can kind of hug the instrument a little bit closer to your body, all right? So I do both things, as I told you when we were learning this in class. It just depends on how long I'm playing and what I'm playing, but I kind of go back and forth between those two things sometimes, whichever is more comfortable at the moment. But no matter what, you want to be, when I look down, I should only see this part of my instrument. I shouldn't ever be looking at my instrument flat like this. And no matter what, I want this part, this neck and fretboard of my instrument, to be raised a little bit higher than the body, okay? So we're going to start with our C chord. So for C, I'm going to take what is finger number 3. Remember, we don't count our thumb. So it's going to be finger number 1, 2, and 3 is going to be my ring finger. And I'm going to use that finger to find my spot. So I'm going to go the first fret, the closest one to the head, the second fret, and the third fret. And I'm going to stop here on the third fret. Okay, I'm going to try to move my other fingers so you can see. And then I'm going to take that finger all the way down to the string that is closest to my feet, okay? So it is the skinniest of the 4 strings. And remember that I want to push kind of right in the middle of that fret, and I want to use the top part of my finger. You can kind of see the string indentation right there from where I was pushing. And remember, if your string, remember how we test our chords, so we're going to pull very gently each one of our strings. And that is what it should sound like. If you're getting a sound like this, remember that tells me I'm not pushing hard enough on my strings, so I'm going to push a little bit harder. And it's going to hurt a little bit, remember, until you start to get that thicker skin on the tips of your fingers. All right, So my C chord, once I know that all of my strings are making a sound, I'm going to go ahead and strum. And remember that I'm using the pointer finger on my right hand, and I'm using the nail side to strum down over the fretboard. And remember that I'm not going to strum over the hole. Remember, we have that sweet spot kind of right at the bottom of our fretboard. Okay? So that is my C chord. So the next chord is a 2-finger chord. F is a little bit trickier. So I'm going to do 1 finger at a time for F, okay? So we're going to start with our middle finger for F, and I'm going to start at the head of my instrument, the top of the neck, and I'm going to slide 1, 2 frets in. And I'm going to rest that middle finger right on that top string closest to my face. Then I'm going to take my pointer finger on that very first fret where I started, and I'm going to count down 3 strings from the top. So 1, 2, 3, and this is my F chord. So I'm going to test it out, remember, by pulling very gently on each of my strings. Oops, and that bottom one isn't making a sound, which is weird because my finger's not on the bottom one, but what's happening is that this fleshy part of my palm is touching that string. So if I'm having that problem, I'm going to push my wrist forward just a little bit. Let's see if that solved it. And it did. I have fixed my problem. Remember that if I would have a sound like this, that tells me I'm not pushing hard enough, or something else is touching the string, like in the case of my palm touching that bottom string, right? So here's my F chord. Okay? So once you've got both of those chords and they're making a good sound, you can practice switching between those two. So C and F, and practice going back and forth between those 2 chords until they both feel really comfortable and you can do it without looking, okay? Now, eventually, next week, I'm going to throw in an A minor chord, and so then we'll go from C to A minor to F, and then we'll add the G in next week too. But for right now, I want you just to focus on C and F and C and F, okay? And like I said, I will put the chord diagrams in here as well. I'm also going to attach them to the end of the video. So they will be both places for you in the comments. If you're watching this on Facebook, it'll be in the comments of this post. And if you are just watching on YouTube, then you'll have to just fast forward to the end of the video and you can pause it, and both of the chord diagrams will be there as well. Okay? All right.